Come to say, Shaw Lytle! I was not supposed to be next. This is my first time in New York City. A little bit nervous, so bear with me here. That's better. Okay. Shit, I'm drawing a blank here. I think my accountant has a crush on me because she keeps asking about my interests. I'm pretty popular at work. Everybody calls me the it guy. I had sex with a minor once. She smelled like coal. Again, I'm still pretty nervous. I like to draw some inspiration from the good book. So if you'll bear with me. Jesus did not like tattoos, but he was into piercings. I'm gonna try some older material now. If a man lays with another man as he lays with a woman, it's an abomination. He should be put to death. Oh, that wasn't very funny. Back to the fucking drawing board on that one. Are there any 80s kids in the fucking audience? Yeah! You would love my collection of Garbage Pail Kids. Not the cards, I just knock up a lot of one-night stands. So, as you may be able to see if the lighting is good, I recently had a very traumatic injury to my hand. I almost took it off. I'm still in physical therapy and recovering. But I like to look on the bright side of any situation that I'm given. So, with the 5 minutes that I don't need to sit on it before I jerk off to do the stranger, I am learning Spanish. No tengo tiempo para esta mierda. I'm also suffering from PTSD. That is right, post-tranny sex disorder. I will never again trust a woman who says, just pull him to the side. Or, I prefer anal. But, again, looking at the bright side, my dick can apparently be a Ferguson police officer because it had no problem shooting an unarmed man. It can also be a New York police officer because it choked him to death too. So, I'm from Virginia, and in Virginia we have a heavily wooded area called Clifton. It's where a lot of the rich people go to be surrounded by trees and fool themselves that their occupation is not killing the environment. And I was driving through it one day to go to work, and I took my eyes off the road for a fucking second to change the song on my iPod, and I look back up, and I see what appears to be two antlers in front of me, so I slam on the fucking brakes, but I hit whatever was in front of my van anyway, and I get out of the van, and I'm like, oh my god, I hit a deer, that's so fucking adorable, what am I gonna do? But much to my relief, it wasn't a fucking deer at all. It was a little retarded girl that just had 2 tree branches in her hands. So, I did what any self-respecting white male would try to do in that situation, and that's get the fuck out of there before the cops arrive. It did not work out that way, however, and so I had to go to court for it a little while back, and I was really fucking scared as I'm watching the people go ahead of me because I'm like, shit, this judge is Muslim, because he just fucking sentenced the rapist to marry his victim, and I was like, I'm fucked. But luckily I got off kind of easy. I only have to date her for 6 months. And again, when I say retarded, it's not like Justin Bieber's a talented artist kind of retarded. It's like, I think math is a flavor kind of retarded. You guys must know some retarded people or something. So, anyway, there are a few upsides again. Anytime I want a hand job, I just have to sprinkle glitter on my dick. And she does not understand how her Medicaid checks work. You like the suit. So, The Texan Republican Party recently ran, and on their platform they had homosexual rehabilitation, which shows you how little they actually understand about homosexuality. And if you want to know how Texans perceive it, you pretty much just have to watch the movie Jaws, but replace the word shark with the word gay. So it's like, I'm not going to shut down this beast just because we got a gay on the loose. I think we caught the gay that swallowed that man. No, that gay has a 5-inch bite radius. We're looking for a gay with a 6-inch bite radius. And then they call a town meeting, and some grizzled old motherfucker sitting in the back, running his nails down the chalkboard, and he's like, catching a gay is not like catching a polyamorous or a bisexual. Gay chew you up, swallow you whole. Meanwhile, they're driving around in a rusted-ass Ford pickup with 50-gallon drums in the back, being like, you can't go down with 3 barrels on him. Not with 3, you can't. Okay. So, you know, I've said some shit that has probably made a few of you be like, damn, what was this kid's upbringing like? So I'm gonna tell you. My mother was an enormous whore. She had more coat hangers shoved in her than the stoner's fucking car door. And, you know, it wasn't until I was like 25 that I realized that the saying was trust the Gordon's fisherman and not fuck the Gordon's fisherman, because she always loved a man in uniform. And I remember thinking as a kid that the number for paternity test results was 1-800-GO-NAVY. My father was an alcoholic, and to feed his addiction, you know, we didn't grow up with the most money. When he found out that my grandmother had dementia and Alzheimer's, rather than pay for an expensive nursing home, he just bought a new VHS player and recorded a loop of The Price is Right that we would play over and over again. And we couldn't afford to go to Chuck E. Cheese, so what he would do is he would get me and my sister in the car, and he would give us each a hammer, and then we would drive around until we saw a ditch being dug by some Spanish guys, and he'd sit in the car drinking a beer and just shout out names, so he'd be like, Jose! And whoever popped their head out of the ditch, we had to hit him with the fucking hammer, and that was unwhackable. You didn't get tickets and prizes, but there was a slight level of satisfaction. My uncle was a pedophile. He was probably the most brilliant pedophile that ever walked the face of the fucking earth. Because he would take his Viagra and he would paint them to look like Skittles, because what kid can resist Skittles? Not this one. But again, as he was waiting for them to kick in, he would have us watch gay porn, but with his fucking brilliance, he would narrate it like he was Steve Irwin from The Crocodile Hunter. So he'd be like, crikey, mate, check out the jaws on that one. Notice how the North American male anus can expand to nearly twice its size to devour its prey. And I never understood why, but looking back, I'd go home and my mom would be like, what'd you and Uncle Billy do today? And I'm like, oh, we watched a lot of nature shows. So my grandmother came from an era where it was okay to push a woman down the stairs for getting lippy or pregnant. And as a result, she has this really archaic, botched together shoulder replacement and hip replacement. And it takes a signal from her brain and transfers it to radio frequency and tells the fucking joints to move like they should. So I had to go over to her house to make sure that the loop of The Price is Right hadn't stopped. And I'm sitting in the living room playing Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation with a wireless controller, and next thing I know, she comes out of her fucking bedroom doing the robot. And at first I thought that she had just guessed the right price for the Showcase Showdown and was celebrating. But then she stops in the hall and her arm's just fucking dangling there. And I'm like, Grandma, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't know. And this is at the same time that I realized the wireless controller stopped fucking working. And it takes me a second, but I put 2 and 2 together. The radio frequency that the wireless controller runs off of is the same fucking frequency that her fucking hip and shoulder replacement run off of, and the batteries are dead. So I'm like, shit, Grandma, where can I find some D batteries? And she's like, I got a dildo in my nightstand. So I run into her bedroom, and I opened the nightstand drawer, and I'm sure whenever this thing was carved out of stone, you know, or clay, it was a normal size fucking dildo. But much like a stalactite in a cavern, over 1,000 years, it grows in fucking size. If you've never been to a cavern before, just picture a fat kid's fingers after he's done eating a bag of Krispy Kreme donuts. So I got the batteries out, shoved them in the fucking controller, and steered dumbass back to her bedroom, and she died a week later. That is my time. Thank you very much.
I want to shake his hand because lick them things.